Yes, we are alive. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Yes, I'm still not used to this virtual classes, especially speaking into the phone or camera. Yeah, today for some reason I'm alone here. There's Panchatattva, of course, but no other living human being for some reason. But anyway, we try our best to go on with Bhagavatam lecture. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting this Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in the classes of the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving devotional service to the personality of Godhead is established within the heart as an irrevocable fact. So today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, The Son of Throne Punished, and text 19. Yadarshanam atmanam aikshata shranta vajinam astram brahma shiromene atma tranam dvijatmaja. Yadasharanam atmanam aikshata shanta vajinam astram brahma shiromene atmatranam dvijatmajaha. Yadasharanam atmanam aikshata shranta vajinam astram brahma shiro mene atmatranam dvijatmajaha. Yada, when, asharanam, without being alternatively protected, atmanam, his own self, aikshata, so, shranta vajinam, the horses being tired, astram, weapon, brahmashiraha, the topmost or ultimate nuclear, mene, applied, atmatranam, just to save himself, dvija atmajaha, the son of a brahmana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the son of Brahmana, Ashvatthama, saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, nuclear weapon. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the ultimate issue only, when there is no alternative, the nuclear weapon called the Brahmastra is applied. The word Dvijatmaja is significant here because Ashvatthama, although the son of Dronacharya, was not exactly a qualified Brahmana. The most intelligent man is called a Brahmana, and it is not a hereditary title. Ashvatthama was also formerly called the Brahmabandhu, or the friend of a Brahmana. Being a friend of a Brahmana does not mean that one is a Brahmana by qualification. A friend or son of a Brahmana, when fully qualified, can be called a Brahmana, and not otherwise. Since Ashvatthama's decision is immature, he is purposely called herein the son of a Brahmana. Yadarshananam atmanam aikshata shranta vajinam astram brahmashiro mene atmatranam dvijatmajaha. When the son of the Brahmana, Ashvatthama, saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, nuclear weapon. Om Akyanatimirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupadakadamahyam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrachantam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Nrsimha Swami Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna. This is one of these Mahabharata sections of Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many Mahabharata sections, some in the 3rd canto, some in the 10th canto, but there's especially the end of the Mahabharata is presented here in the 1st canto by Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, not Srila Prabhupada. What's happening here is it is a conversation, as we learned, conversation or narration by Sutta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi. And so who is speaking here is Sutta Goswami, explaining to them explaining yes, it all started with the topic of Parikshit Maharaj, why he was in danger, and yes, so in Mahabharata, it is a very dramatic section of Mahabharata, dramatic, even you can say tragic, because there's a lot of emotions, a lot of war, a lot of grief, sadness. So it's emotionally very loaded part of the scripture, and here the son of Drona punished. We are in a part of Mahabharata where the Kurukshetra war was almost finished. Well, officially, it was finished by the killing of Duryodhana, or not killing, but slaying or injuring by Bhimasena, and then that's supposed to end the war officially, the end of war of Kurukshetra. But at that night, when the Duryodhana was slain, and then traditionally the warriors who have won the war, by tradition they stay at night. Throughout the night, they spend the night on the battlefield. They don't go to take rest in their camp. And so the Pandavas followed this tradition. And when they stayed on the battlefield, at the same time, Ashvatthama, the son of Dronacharya, went to Duryodhana, who was lying on a battlefield with a broken, it's said a broken spine by Bhima, but also the broken thigh, which was one of the unprotected parts of his body, because Kandari was not able to solidify, because Krishna convinced Duryodhana, Krishna tricked Duryodhana to wear kamcha while going to see his mother Kandari. And yes, so Duryodhana was lying there waiting for his final death, and Ashvatthama went to Duryodhana and saw his master in this pitiable condition, and Ashvatthama was furious. He was so angry at Pandavas. He wanted to revenge this first of all, for killing his father Dronacharya. Drona unrighteously, by Drishtadyumna. And then in that situation, Ashvatthama told to Dronacharya, to Duryodhana, that don't worry, my master, I will revenge, I will slay the Pandavas for your pleasure. And Duryodhana, first of all, he was pleased with Ashvatthama's proposal, and he gave blessings to Ashvatthama. Very good, do that. Of course, Ashvatthama at that moment didn't know how they're going to accomplish this impossible feat. There were only Kripa, Ashwatthama, and Kritavarma. Three soldiers, three warriors left from a Guru's side. And so they were, as they were also lying down to rest at that night, Kripa and Kritavarma, they fell asleep after some time, but Ashwatthama was so full of anger and desire to revenge that he was not able to sleep, and then just lying down, and then all of a sudden he saw next to him a tree. During nighttime there were hundreds of crows, and then he noticed how an owl came silently. Flew into this tree and started to quietly killing the crows, and the crows started to dropping down on the ground, and then Ashwatthama, observing this, he got an idea. Wow, this must be a I say sign from a providence, from destiny, that I see this the scene of owl killing these crows. And then he took the idea from that. We cannot slay the Pandavas by any rightful means. So definitely, this is a sign. This is a hint that I should go and kill them in a sleep while they are on guard. And so he woke up his fellow warriors, Kripa and Kritavarma, and told them the plan. Both of these warriors, they were righteous souls. And they were horrified by the idea, the proposal that Ashwatthama was offering, that to go like a coward into the camp of the enemy and slay them in sleep without fair combat. And so they tried to persuade Ashwatthama to not to do such a heinous act, but Ashwatthama didn't listen to them, and then he said, okay, if you will not join me, I will do it myself. I feel all the unrighteous things that Pandavas have done and how they killed Drona, they deserve such an end. So he prepared himself to go to the Pandavas' camp at this nighttime, and so he left to execute his nefarious task. And meanwhile, Kripa and Kritavarma, they discussed, and amongst themselves, they knew it's wrong, but they decided, okay, we anyway joined Duryodhana's side, so we might as well just go and help Ashwatthama in his last killing operation. So when Ashwatthama was approaching the gate of this camp of Pandavas, before the gate was standing a huge black figure, some huge black person who had a snake around the neck, snake around the arms. And first Ashwatthama was taken back. Who is that? And he tried to attack this person, shooting arrows into this person, throwing even swords. Every kind of weapons he had, he used against this unknown mystical person. And all these weapons, they just merged into the body of that huge black person. and at one point, Ashwatthama realized, this is Lord Shiva, Mahadev. And Ashwatthama had worshipped Lord Shiva throughout his life. Actually, before Ashwatthama was born, Drona and Drona's wife, they were performing severe tapasya, as austerities. And as a result, Lord Shiva gave them blessings. So therefore, their son Ashwatthama was throughout his life devoted to Lord Shiva, and then Lord Shiva spoke. Throughout this Kurukshetra war, I have protected Pandavas, but I know you're my devotee, and and because the time of these warriors left to live in the camp of Pandavas are, I know that their time has come to to, to leave this body. Therefore, I empower you. Take the sword. Lord Shiva gave a sword, very special mystical sword to Ashwatthama. Use the sword to kill all the remaining warriors who are sleeping. And Ashwatthama took the sword, and then all of a sudden Mahadev just disappeared. And at the same time Ashwatthama felt huge surge of energy, amazing power overtaking him. He became so empowered with full strength. He went to, first of all, to the tent where he thought the Pandavas are sleeping. And he saw the five bodies lying in the beds, and he immediately just killed them all. And after that he went to revenge for his father Drona, and he went to the tent of Trishtadyumna. Yes, so he finished off Trishtadyumna there, and then he started to kill everyone he saw, anyone who was still alive, all the soldiers. But because he was empowered by the potency of Lord Shiva, no one could face him, no one could oppose him or do any harm to him or stop him. And then, before entering into this camp to do this night massacre, the Kripa and Kritavarma catched up with Ashwatthama, and so Ashwatthama was pleased, praising them. It's good that you have understood your real Kshatriya duty, that you don't abandon me to do this task alone. That very good. I will go to slay everyone in the camp, and you stay here, and whoever tries to escape, you finish them off. That was their plan. And yes, so no one was left alive except the chariot driver of Trishtadyumna, who managed to escape. And so he went quickly to where Yudhishthir and the Pandavas were camping out at that night, and then informed them that what had happened, that all sons of Pandavas were killed by Ashwatthama. Of course, it was such a shock for them. They lamented, cried, but at the same time, they knew they had a duty to take care, to capture this wretch Ashwatthama and punish him. First of all, Bhimasena was the one who went after Ashwatthama immediately. And meanwhile, Ashwatthama thought, okay, I'm gonna, before I ride off to Hastinapur, I'm gonna go to visit Duryodhana for the last time, with the intention to please him, and I want to go and bring him the good news that the Pandavas were slain. And then he thought, how can I prove it to him? So he thought, maybe I should take the heads of the Pandavas. So he went back to this camp, and then cut off these heads. And then he realized, these are not Pandavas. These are the sons of the Pandavas, the teenage sons. But anyway, he thought, let me take these heads to my master Duryodhana and present them as the heads of Pandavas. Even that was a dishonest plan, what he wanted to execute. Anyway, he went to Duryodhana and then told him what had happened, and Duryodhana praised Ashwatthama at first, saying that you accomplished a task that no other warriors was able to do. That's amazing. And then Ashwatthama said, yes, I have a proof. I have these heads of the Pandavas here. And Duryodhana couldn't believe that, but anyway, he knew how to see if these heads are actually Pandavas' heads, and he couldn't see that, but with his hand he was he was feeling the head, and if knowing that the Pandavas are so strong, their head would never be able to, crack under his grip, and but these heads were very soft, and it just immediately broke, and then he immediately realized, these are not Pandavas, these are the sons of Pandavas, you fool. And then he became even more depressed because he wasn't pleased that Ashwatthama had killed the sons of Pandavas. These 5 sons of Pandavas were the last descendants of Kuru dynasty, so he was even more disappointed, knowing that his dynasty will perish. There is no, successor. And in that this totally disappointed state, Duryodhana left his body. But it is described that he went. Despite that, he went to the higher regions, the heavenly regions, which is a destination of all the righteous soldiers who die on a battlefield. So he didn't, in that sense, lose anything. But what happened with Ashwatthama, as soon as Krishna heard that Bhimasena went after Ashwatthama, Krishna was alarmed and told Arjuna that you know that Ashwatthama owns the Brahmastra weapon, and Bhimasena had no Brahmastra. Only Arjuna was the only person besides Ashwatthama who had received Brahmastra from Dronacharya, his martial teacher, who was very pleased with Arjuna as his favorite student. And therefore, Krishna told Arjuna, you must immediately go and save Bhimasena, because he will not be able to oppose Brahmastra. But Drona didn't teach Ashwatthama, his son, how to retract the Brahmastra weapon. He didn't give this full knowledge about Brahmastra to his son. Why? Because he realized the character of Ashwatthama. He knew that Ashwatthama will definitely misuse this weapon, so he didn't deliver the full science of using it. But whereas Arjuna got that knowledge, and so at that time also interesting that Krishna reveals something about Ashwatthama that no one knew, and Krishna told that when I was in Dwaraka, at one point, right after Ashwatthama received the Brahmastra weapon from his father, and who was also teacher, from his father Drona, immediately Ashwatthama came to Dwaraka to see Lord Krishna. Ashwatthama knew that Lord Krishna owns the most powerful, undisputed weapon called Sudarshan Chakra. And Ashwatthama came with a plan. And he explains how Ashwatthama asked me for Sudarshan Chakra. No, actually he offered to Krishna, let us exchange our weapons. I give you Sudarshan, I'll give you Brahmastra, and you give me your Sudarshan. And Krishna was very casually said, yeah, no problem. You see, if you can take my chakra weapon, it's just lying here, right here next to me. If you can take it with you, you can have it. But I don't need your Brahmastra, don't worry. And Ashwatthama, with all his strength and might, tried to move Sudarshan, and he was unable to do that. And finally he gave up. And after that, Lord Krishna asked Ashwatthama, by the way, why did you ask me for my chakra? And Ashwatthama, totally shameless, admitted to Lord Krishna that I wanted you to give me your Sudarshan chakra because I know it's the most powerful weapon in the whole existence, and if I own that, I would have challenged you into the battle, and I would have defeated you, and after that I would have been the most powerful man on earth. So that reveals a lot about the character of Ashwatthama. Just like Duryodhana wasn't able to fathom the idea that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original Narayana, the creator and controller of the whole cosmic manifestation. Duryodhana didn't get that, despite all different what his advisors told him, and even seeing the universal form himself. He still didn't believe that Krishna was the Supreme Lord, and even while lying half dead on a battlefield at the end of the battle, even at that situation, Duryodhana was still wondering, maybe Krishna is a Supreme Lord after all. He's definitely not an ordinary person, he's a very powerful person, but maybe he is a Lord, as they all tell me. So he still had this doubt, but yes, Duryodhana was a partial incarnation of Kali. Maybe not partial, maybe the incarnation of Kali. But therefore he represented this type of character. But Ashvatthama, yes, because of his not possessing Brahminical qualities, like Srila Prabhupada here mentions, Brahma Bandhu, being a friend of a Brahmana, so doesn't mean that he's qualified as Brahmana. So yeah, so this is very nice, all this very fascinating, this history, these stories, but they're all given to us in order to teach us something, in order for us to learn from them something. So what can we learn from these pastimes? There are some points that I thought were that one thing is that Ashvatthama, although the son of a Brahmana, Brahmanas are most respected leaders of the society as a wise man, and Dronacharya himself was very righteous and very much respected by everyone. Whereas his son Ashvatthama, who's supposed to follow in the footsteps of his father and also manifest Brahminical qualities, he didn't possess those qualities, and therefore being a son of a respectable man, but behaving in a very disrespectful way and an unrighteous way, Ashvatthama one sense brought infamy and blame to Dronacharya. So lesson for us, we always represent somebody. We represent, as devotees, we represent first of all our spiritual master, also our Kuru Parampara, and we represent Krishna in a sense in this world. So we can understand how important it is that we don't bring blame to those persons whom we represent. Also, another lesson which I picked up here is that Arjuna, when in this pastime, when Ashvatthama was captured by Arjuna after they both threw their brahmastras, and Arjuna withdrew the brahmastras. At that time, Ashvatthama was helpless, and Arjuna went and captured him. And then there started this debate, which is coming up very soon in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Krishna and Bhima wanted Ashvatthama to be killed And at the same time, Draupadi, who was very soft-hearted, asked not to kill Ashwatthama because of his being the son of a Brahmana, a son of a teacher, and so on. And so there was this debate, and Arjuna was in dilemma, what to do. He had to satisfy all the parties, and then Arjuna, by his highly advanced intelligence, and by his being Krishna conscious, he knew exactly what to do in this situation. He knew the strict injunctions, what is to be done, what is not to be done, who is a Brahmana, who doesn't qualify as a Brahmana, and Arjuna, severed the jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. And after that act, everyone was so pleased with Arjuna. Even Bhimasena, who previously just demanded Ashwatthama to be killed, was pleased with Arjuna. And the lesson here is that a servant the real servant understands the mind, the heart, the intentions of the master. And the real servant, like let's say Ashwatthama was in a sense a servant of Duryodhana in this situation, and even though his intention was to please his master Duryodhana by killing the Pandavas in sleep and bringing the heads of their sons ultimately, he wanted to please, but Duryodhana was instead displeased with him. Just the opposite result. Whereas in this situation where Arjuna has to make the decision about Ashwatthama, knew the mind of Krishna and his brothers and Draupadi, and he solved the situation in the best possible way, so that Ashwatthama was killed, and at the same time he wasn't killed. And so everyone was satisfied, and he didn't transgress any scriptural regulations. Yes, so the point here is that we should all become such advanced or sincere disciples and servants of our superiors, that we should become so tuned with their heart, with their inner world, so to say, that we know how to please them. We know what pleases them, and then we do. We just don't do simply what we're being told, but we, as a real servant, exceeds the expectations of their superior or master. So this is what type of disciple we want to become. We want to exceed their expectations. In many occasions, Arjuna exhibited the same quality of understanding the deeper meaning of their superiors. Like Bhishma Dev was already slain on a battlefield. Bhishma Dev said, "I'm thirsty, please give me some water." And people started to fetch, some jars with water. Bhishma Dev, no, I want Arjuna to give me water. And Arjuna knew exactly what Bhishma Dev, in which way he wants the water. And Arjuna took his bow and arrow and shot some celestial arrow next to Bhishma Dev's head, and then a stream of water came from the earth to quench his thirst. And Bhishma Dev was very, very pleased and satisfied with his, one sense also his disciple, and that he knows my heart, he understands my mood. He was very pleased. So we want to become ultimately that type of disciple. We don't want to stay crawling in our spiritual life, but at one point we want to end up flying. Yes. And then and after this was done, the jewel from the head of Ashwatthama was cut by Arjuna. Interesting that Krishna, next what happened was Krishna cursed Ashwatthama. You see, when all the other warriors on a Kurukshetra attained the glorious destination of higher regions, heavenly planets, and with a long life, very enjoyable long life, then Ashwatthama didn't got that, one sense, that mercy or that exalted result. Why? Because of his cruel behavior, unrighteousness, immoral activities. And then Krishna cursed Ashwatthama by saying that you will not be able to die, and you have to wander as an exile on this earth for 3,000 years, and you will be afflicted by some disease all this time. You will emanate terrible, unbearable smell. Therefore, no one wants to ever associate with you, and so you have to wander for 3,000 years. But it's interesting that it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, was it 11th canto, that yes, O King, during the 8th Manvantara, the great personalities Galvala, Diptiman, Prachuram, Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Anyachiva, and our father Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Narayana, will be the 7 sages. So at the end, only during the 8th Manvantara, Ashwatthama will be positioned in a very high elevated position as one of the 7 sages. So you can see, even though he made such a heinous crime, you can say war crime, killing children, no one is condemned eternally for eternity. Even after Ashwatthama learns this lesson and repents and so to say burn his karma, or this curse of Krishna will end, then he will be again reinstated in exalted position. So how merciful is Krishna? Ashwatthama, the name means one who is as strong as a horse. Ashwa is a horse. There's a medicine, ashwagandha. But yes, so this, the Brahmastra weapon that can destroy the universe. That was the weapon that Ashwatthama threw on Arjuna. And what happened? Ashwatthama was also, one sense, so devious and clever. First, when he escaped, before he threw the Brahmastra, he knew that Arjuna will come after him. He knew very well. But at the same time, he knew that Pandavas are very favorable or very obedient to the sages and rishis. And so he went to the place where rishis were saying, and then Ashwatthama dressed in a deer skin and sat amongst the rishis when Arjuna arrived. Quite an interesting detail. Hoping to save his life in that way, hoping for the mercy and help of the sages. And so, and then first Bhima found Ashwatthama there. And then in that, when after Ashwatthama threw the Brahmastra, then Vyasadeva, who was right there, said, "What are you doing? You will destroy everything. Immediately retract this weapon." Vyasadeva told Ashwatthama. He chastised him. And Ashwatthama just looked Vyasadeva saying nothing, because he didn't know how to retract it. So there's a lot of war. Well, actually, the whole human history is a history of wars. And Prabhupada says nicely in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in a purport, to pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. So, in that sense, we are all warriors. We are warriors. And all devotees are warriors. You admit it or not. So what is the definition of warriors? Warrior in dictionary definition is a person who fights in a war or a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. So warrior is not definitely defined by their external appearance, but by their inner mood. Therefore, all the fellow devotees, we are all warriors. And the Kurukshetra is our consciousness. Our consciousness. But so the Brahmastra was the most powerful weapon released, you can say in one sense, in a history of universe. Only above Brahmastra is Sudarshan Chakra. That only Krishna is entitled to use. The Sudarshan Chakra, interesting that Lord Nrsimha's nails, they are incarnation, you can say, incarnation of Sudarshan Chakra. Interesting fact. I recently found out. Lord Nrsimha, yes, so they are non-different from Sudarshan Chakra. Lord Nrsimha's, the famous nails he uses to do the heart surgery of Hiranyakashipu. But the weapons are for what are weapons for us as devotees? Definitely knowledge is a weapon. In many verses in Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, with a weapon of knowledge, slay this enemy of lust, anger and greed. If knowledge is a weapon, then let's see, in 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains what is knowledge. It's good to quickly remind. If knowledge is weapon, then let's see. So the list of weapons, the first in the list of weapons or knowledge is humility. Further goes pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, etc. But the knowledge, which is a weapon in this context, starts with humility. Really, there are of course offensive weapons and defensive weapons. Therefore, humility, you can say is the number one defense weapon in the arsenal of devotees. Yes, humility. There's so many pastimes, so many occasions where devotees disarm their you can say opponents or their enemies with their humility. I was told, some devotees told that my Guru Maharaj was once in Russia, preaching in Russia, and he was driving in one car in city, somewhere in Moscow, I don't know where, and there was another car passing by, full of some aggressive young men. like ruffians, like some kind of mafia people, and then they were making fun of my Guru Maharaj. They trying to, you know, somehow or other, you know, mock him or somehow or other offend. Maybe they even threw something at the car. But anyway, my Guru Maharaj had a garland, and then he took his garland and threw the garland into this car, and then with a smile, and then with a mood of forgiveness, and then these people were just, they were dumbfounded. They were silenced by this response, totally unexpected. They were hoping to provoke some anger and I say revenge or something like that. So humility is the greatest weapon for devotees. And then in 11th canto, in the famous verse, it is Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yakyai Sankirtana Prayai Ajantihi Sumed Saha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform a congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. And in the purport, the servants of Srila Prabhupada comment that the weapon of Lord Chaitanya is his beauty. Lord Gauranga. The weapon is his beauty. He disarms, defeats everyone with his beautiful golden Gauranga form. Yeah, and of course, another weapon that we have against illusory energy is the holy name. The most powerful weapon, and we should always take shelter of this holy name. And the best consciousness in which to take shelter of the holy name is like Arjuna had in this situation, where Brahmastra was coming at him and he started to recite prayers. First of all, glorifying Krishna, and also Uttara, to whom the Ashvatthama redirected the Brahmastra weapon, because he didn't know the art of withdrawing it. All he knew was how to redirect it, and he with his cruel intentions and envious nature, he redirected to the last living descendant of the Kuru dynasty, which was Parikshit Maharaj, in the womb of Uttara. And then in that situation, Uttara was also in very helpless condition. And in that state of consciousness, Uttara was praying to Lord Krishna. Similar situation when Draupadi was attempted to disrobe by Dushasana in this gambling match. The last resort, Draupadi threw hands in the air and said, "Oh Govinda, help, please save me." So this exactly this type of consciousness, when one feels the utter helplessness, utter dependence on Krishna, devotee who has put into such condition and who is able to feel that utter dependence on Krishna, so by this we can understand that devotee has got blessings of Krishna. So this utter helplessness, this condition, is, one sense, the greatest blessing of Krishna. Why? Because in that state of consciousness, the holy name will be the sweetest. It tastes the sweetest. Janmaishvarya Surta Sribir Kunti Rani is explaining how person who feels material satisfaction from wealth, from high birth, knowledge, beauty, and who feels this kind of material security from these things will never be able to utter the holy name of the Lord with sincere feeling. But in these situations like Arjuna, Uttara, and so many other devotees here, in these most helpless situations, that's the greatest blessing. Yeah, because you can really feel the closeness of Krishna through chanting his holy name, by feeling fully dependent on Krishna. That's what we want. But it's not in our demand. Okay, I want to have that feeling of dependence 10 minutes from now. No, it's a mercy. It's a mercy. Yes, so nuclear weapon, maybe I have gone a little over time, but yeah, so the Brahmastra weapon, I remember I was in front of Lord Nrsimha in Mayapur, my last visit, and somehow or other, the thought came to mind, I'm in front of this person, Lord Nrsimha, he's the source of all nuclear power. All the atomic bombs, nuclear bombs, in comparison to Lord Nrsimha's power is nothing. And I'm in front of the person who possesses much more destructive and also protective power than all these weapons. So it was really amazing realization. But anyway, there's so much more to say. I've already gone over time. If you have any questions, comments, please. Oh, okay. Anandahari Prabhu, thank you for listening. When we're trying to please our teachers, how can we be certain that we are pleasing in the correct way, like Arjuna, rather than the wrong way, as in the example of Ashvatthama trying to please his superior? Okay. How can we? Very good point, very good question, very relevant question indeed. Because sometimes we try to please our spiritual master. Yes, I was instructed to do this in this service, and I just forget about everything else, and just in order to please my guru to the max, I will do just this and this and this. But it's not that simple. We should do what pleases Guru, also in a way that pleases Guru. Let's say my Guru Maharaj, please forgive me, I give answer from my own situation. My Guru Maharaj ordered me to do this martial arts for his preaching program and develop the service. He instructed, give your heart to your service, which I'm trying to do. So, knowing that I'm supposed to be good and professional, the instruction was, do your presentation with quality and professionalism. Okay, knowing this, let's say I just start training 8, 9, 10 hours per day, like Bruce Lee, in order to, with the intention to please my Guru Maharaj. I want to become so good in this art that I just forget about everything else and just focus on that one. Focus on that one and neglect my sadhana, my reading, my chanting, my daily practices of basic bhakti process. So this is not called pleasing Guru, because by neglecting the basics and trying to please, it's called over endeavor. It's called atyahara. As far as I understand, as long as our basics are nicely covered in our Krishna consciousness, means we follow the standard program. We don't skip studying Prabhupada's books. We endeavor our best to chant attentively at minimum 16 rounds. Better if you can chant more. And then the rest of the time you give your best. You try your best to execute the order of spiritual master. But so this is the way to please the Guru in a way that's pleasing to Guru. So that means we should follow Guru Sadhu Shastra. We shouldn't speculate on how to please Guru. I don't know if that answers. Hopefully it does. Of course, there's many more aspects, but it's just my basic understanding of this. What? Okay. Ashwatthama, sorry. Is there a reason why Mahadev empowered Ashwatthama to kill the Pandava boys? There's always a reason, and in this situation, the reason, as I recall from Mahabharata, was that it was Krishna's plan anyway to eliminate these armies from the surface of the earth. It was Krishna's plan, and Mahadev was simply carrying out Krishna's plan as his servant, and therefore Mahadev was empowering Ashwatthama to do that externally very, very cruel, heinous act. How could anyone, like such exalted devotee as Shiva, Lord Shiva, Vaishnavanam Yathashrabhu, how he could sanction killing soldiers at night, which is so adharmic? But it was Krishna's plan ultimately, and Krishna even explained after all these massacres to the lamenting Duryodhana and Kandari and all the relatives who lost their husbands or sons. He explained to them that actually they are residing now in heavenly planets, enjoying happy lives. Don't lament on them. So that's why Lord Shiva, as a service to Krishna, he empowered Ashwatthama. Okay, when we hear these pastimes, what are supposed to learn from them? What are the lessons we take from hearing them, especially pastimes like this when it's taking place in battlefield? What are the lessons? There's so many lessons. These pastimes are packed with lessons. One short, for an hour class is not enough to unpack them all. But I mentioned a couple lessons, how not to be a friend of a Brahmana, but to be a real Brahmana by exhibiting and displaying the qualities of a Brahmana. The lesson that I found from this was how Arjuna was able to understand the heart and the intentions of his superiors. Another lesson, Ashwatthama had to accept some serious punishment for his cruel acts, for adharmic acts. So Ashwatthama's being the son of a Brahmana didn't excuse him, didn't release him from the responsibility, the reactions. He had to suffer. Krishna cursed him to wander on this earth for 3,000 years. Actually, even to this day in India, people are still seriously believing that, we saw Ashwatthama. There was some article I saw recently. Some mysterious person went to a doctor somewhere in Gujarat, and he had a very weird-looking wound on a head. The doctor tried to stitch the wound, and it didn't heal. Somehow or other, it wasn't able to be stitched. And the doctor, while he was dealing with his instruments, these surgical instruments, he was thinking, what's going on with this person? I never seen such a wound before. And while he was dealing with his medical stuff here, he said to this person that, are you Ashvatthama? And then when he turned his head back, the person was gone. and then when some other Indian Air Force military fighter claimed that he saw Ashvatthama somewhere near Himalayas, and so people are still claiming that, that Ashvatthama is still alive, he's still around. So there are many lessons. One lesson is that with all this destruction on this war, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all these millions of warriors being killed, one lesson is it's supposed to teach us detachment. Detachment. That's what Vidura was teaching to Dhritarashtra at the end of all this massacre. Dhritarashtra was very old and still living in a house of Pandavas, as we will soon see in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. And Vidura told, all your dynasty is gone, your sons are killed because of your attachment to your cruel son, and so he encouraged Dhritarashtra to take the path of detachment and austerity. And also we learn from this that all these great warriors, it was like Krishna put on a huge drama, like a play. At the end, he just the drama was finished. All the warriors were killed, and at the same time, Krishna and all the persons who had the real knowledge, they knew all those warriors, just the body is killed. They got new healthy body in higher regions, and they're living happily. They're healthy, enjoying like anything. All this what happened, so-called horrible massacre on this planet, one sense is like illusion. It's like it's drama. So many more lessons, but that's what Krishna inspired me to find today. I hope I didn't commit a crime against humanity by torturing others by putting them into sleep with my boring class. I hope you got something out of it. I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.